Emergency. If you haven't pooped in a few days or weeks, or you've developed hard stool, floating stool, loose stool, but really that hard stool, watch this video because your health can be compromised and you in big trouble. So stay tuned. Welcome everyone to my humble life. Now let's get right on into the subject of constipation. See, because a lot of you that I consult are experiencing either chronic constipation or spotted constipation, depending on what you eat, which should never be. You should be able to poop every day, clear out the bowels at least once a day. I don't mean once a little bit, I mean a lot. It all comes out perfect. But that's not the case, because a lot of you guys are developing constipation on these diets. So let's break down how you're developing them, what the symptoms are. So for example, nobody would ever think that the thyroid is connected to these lion diets, snake diets, carnivore diets, keto diets. It is, because you guys are not in ketosis. So when you're not in ketosis, unfortunately, in many people, you're either not uptaking T3 or you're not producing enough T3, or TSH is high or low, and your bowels lock up. And that's the one almost no one talks about at all. But then there's more. There's things like chronic dehydration. And that's the main reason, right? It's two. It's either the too much protein or chronic dehydration, but let's kind of break it down. So when you drop out your carbs, you start peeing a lot. You drop a lot of fluid because carbs make you hold on to minerals and water within the cell. So you start to just dump fluid. Well, that instantly causes constipation in most people. They already have slow motility. And then when you add this extra like kerosene or gasoline to the fire, boom, you get locked up. I don't care if it's for 3 days. Be very, very, very careful. Now, constipation. You're not balancing your electrolytes. And I don't mean taking Element, Keto Chow, or any powdered mixture elixir. Often they use potassium chloride, which is too rough on the kidneys, but then they mostly just use salt. We already debunked the Element garbage. Salt. So now you have salt with Element, and then you add salt to your diet. Now you have too much salt and not enough of potassium, a potassium balance. And then you become dehydrated. Because believe it or not, when you're dumping water, those minerals must balance and remain within the body for you not to become constipated and dehydrated, or dehydrated then constipated. So we've got thyroid, we've got chronic dehydration, and then to add more kerosene onto the whole thing, you're eating too much protein. And protein slows down motility, especially if it's from red meat, which you get from snake diets and lion diets, all this nonsense. Okay, tons and tons and tons and tons of red meat can be a problem with motility because it takes a long time to digest, which everything's going too slow and gets stuck. Not good. I'm not even done. I'm still just getting started. Yes, so we have aged meats like bacon or your sausage, or just super long dry hung meat that's loaded in bacteria. So you already have maybe SIBO or mast cell activation, and then you're adding bacteria that your colon doesn't like into the gut, and then motility slows down immediately because a bacterial imbalance will slow down motility. But that's not even it. There's more. There's too much protein, spiking your blood sugar. But if you've got candida, now your candida is growing while eating meat. I mean, how does that make sense? Because too much protein is spiking your blood sugar, and then candida grows, and then that paralyzes the gut. But there's more about the gut. There's that slowing down of motility, right? So we're not getting enough of the prebiotic fiber to balance the gut microbiome. That's what prebiotic fiber does. You've got the fiber and you've got the bacteria, and then it ferments, and then it starts to help heal the gut wall and helps with motility. But there's more about that meat. If you're eating a lot of red meat, like on the snake diet or the lion diet, or even on a carnivore diet, or even on a keto diet, that's a lot of iron. And iron constipates you. I mean, a lot of women know this who bleed a lot in their menstrual cycle, during their menstrual cycle, and then they take those nasty iron pills, and then boom, they can't poop. That's the same thing with a lot of iron entering the body, because if you're doing like organ meats, and you're doing muscle meats, and red meats, and you're eating a lot of cow meat, and beef, and deer, and venison. I know. Think about it. But then there's gurus telling you that this shite is normal. Like, you can't make this stuff up. It really infuriates me that I get the people coming from these other gurus, I mean, that shall be nameless, steak and butter gal, and somebody sent me a video where she was sitting going, look at my stomach, it's so flat, which is already embarrassing. And then these people are making these large amounts of foods, and you think they're eating all these food. Women, you think that these girls are eating all that meat and then having a flat stomach. And Santa Claus exists, and the Tooth Fairy exists. Y'all believe that? The Jolly Green Giant? Stop with it. These diets become these people's brands. They make money. And if you are bloated on eating all that meat and feeling tired and sick, and then you literally start to blow up in your stomach, and then this young woman's like, look, my stomach's so flat. You're going to sit and wonder, like, what's wrong with me? There ain't nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with the garbage that you're listening to. Now, I'm going to keep saying the truth. And the reason why I do these sort of quasi call-outs is because I'm getting those people that came from those groups who are like, I'm sick, I'm bloated. Now I've developed chronic constipation. I feel terrible. My hair's falling out. And I'll be like, okay, does that make sense? Because you have protein, and it must be like the byproducts of protein must be pooped out. It doesn't all get used up. Those are leaner meats like chicken breast to people who have perfect digestion. And how many people doing a meat-based diet have perfect digestion? Almost nobody does. Even when they think they do in consultations, I'm like, what about this? Oh yeah. What about that? Because people don't think about things like dehydration. This is going to happen to everyone. I don't care what guru it is, if they don't tell you that they've been dehydrated doing these diets for an extended amount of time, they're lying to you. Lying to you. I'm sorry. It's not true. Not true. These are the main factors. Now, I know there's more. There's more. But let's get to the solutions. Like, for example, diversify your meats so you get a diversification of bacteria to help the colon. Also, don't always stick with ruminant meats like just red meat. You can have fish, you can have things, you can have chicken from fowl from time to time. But going with the redder meats, when you are already coming from the world of high iron, be very, very careful. I keep telling people, a lot of these men, like Frank Tufano, developing hemochromatosis, doing these carnivore diets, meat diets. Okay. Now, solution. Diversification of your meat will create helping the gut with the I can't even talk to him. Go so damn fast because I got to work on my house. Diversification of the bacteria, and also less iron if you're having an iron overload, which, guys, people, women, go get blood tests because some of you have high B12 and high iron because of too much meat. I know. But then there's also the motility. If you're eating less meat, you're having less of a weighing on the digestive tract, especially people who are eating 1 meal and 2 meals. That's another thing. Do not fast and eat all that meat. Hail to the nut. Oh yes, the fasting. Fasting dehydrates you. Then you're eating copious amounts of meat, and then it's red in 1 meal. So you're getting the high iron, and you're slowing down motility because of the red meats, and then you're not getting enough of any prebiotic fiber to help balance the gut microbiome. And the most important thing is you're not getting enough fat. Too much protein on the fat, locking up the bowels. So of course, up your fat, 200 grams or higher. Of course, lower your protein to moderate to low. I have several videos on how much protein for men and women within ranges. Exercise is another thing. How can you eat all that meat and not exercise? It's going to slow down motility. So exercise. Get some prebiotic fiber in your diet. That's asparagus. That is leek, the green part, small amounts. You can still ride the line of carnivore. You don't have to eat a bunch of vegetables, especially if you have a histamine response to them. But you've got to help seal the gut wall. You don't want to lose diamine oxidase and N-methyltransferase, which are enzymes that take down histamine, because you're taking out all those foods that help balance the gut microbiome plus the production of these enzymes. Yes. Drink at least 2 liters of water, women. Stop with the 1.5 liters or the 1 liter. No. And know your bubble water is not helping you, nor the coffee, nor the tea. These things dehydrate you and lock your bowels up. You are toxic if you can't take a dump. Okay? And this can tank your thyroid. Straight up. You need to get out that estrogen. Because if you're not pooping, hello, make it make sense. You're not getting out estrogen. You don't poop once a week. What the frack? And a lot of people are developing impacted on the left side pain because they can't take a crap. I know, because they're doing these diets. And now sometimes, or some of these gurus will say, oh, it will alleviate itself. Sometimes it does, or sometimes it helps when you up the fat. But don't even put your body under that type of stress. It's unnecessary. Do not fast. Do not eat twice a day. Do not eat all that protein. Diversify your meats. Get enough fat in. And be careful for the aged meats, because aged meats and things like cheese, all these things can create a dysbiotic gut, can create a leaking gut, which creates a dysbiosis, and then that locks up your bowels. And then there's candida. There's the eating too much protein will spike your blood sugar. This makes candida grow and fester, and your bowels get locked up. So meat and fat don't give you the candida, but when your blood sugar spikes, it does. And the caffeine does. So don't do carnivore diet with coffee. No, because you're dehydrated already. I hope this helps. I just get really frustrated because every day I have these consultations and everybody's either constipated at the moment or they've experienced constipation. That's not healthy. And it ain't going to stop. It'll come back in waves. Trust, been doing this diet for over 17 years, and it's a problem. The electrolyte issue is so scary. I mean, you cannot get enough oxygen to the heart. It can jack up your hormones. Yeah, chronic constipation is really dangerous for the impaction. Also not being able to get out the estrogen and the thyroid and estrogen dominance and the adrenal issues. There's only a certain small amount of people that actually can eat protein, which it must be lean or from fowl with perfect motility, and that's almost no one. So you need to be pooping to get out the protein byproducts. Straight up. I'm just saying, people develop gout or high uric acid levels in their just in general, because their kidneys can't filtrate properly. You can't poop. The whole digestive system is whacked, and your gallbladder's not working. And that's another thing, that if you can't absorb the fat and you're eating a lot of protein, yeah, body's not in ketosis. You've got cortisol, which really is the last one, because a lot of women develop constipation when they're stressed. Their gut instantly becomes dysbiotic. They become dehydrated, and the thyroid gets jacked up with too much cortisol in the bloodstream, which locks you up. So breathe, diaphragmatic breathe, go to bed early, follow circadian rhythm, because motility is all based around sun, day, night cycles. And this is my whole video on, you have to be pooping every day, at least one huge massive bowel movement, sink to the bottom, brown in color, no floating, no loose. Loosey-goosey is also constipated. You can poop every day and it's loose. I'm sorry, that's still constipation because your body's trying to get it out, so you get loose stool. But the sodium-potassium balance is so important, majorly important, to make sure that you don't do this element in keto chow. Get your potassium from food. Ride the line of carnivore or meat-based, whatever, by getting a little bit of prebiotic fiber in. Help draw water to the colon, drink enough water. But really, it's the sodium and potassium balance that can dehydrate you like this. And that's why you eat throughout the day, to get enough of these minerals like potassium and sodium from your food, and then what you put on your food, to be able to continue with motility and healthy life. Healthy bowels. I know. Because a dysbiotic gut can create depression. So you got to poop. Must poop. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. And I don't like keto chow, y'all know that. And I don't like element, which I've already explained, because it's mostly salt, and you're adding salt on top of salt and not balancing it with potassium. Drink enough water. And I'm out. Energy! And it's so beautiful today. I got a video done in the daytime, but I'm rushing my ass off because I need to get to work on this house. And I'm out. Comment below if you've been constipated at some point. If you felt better when you added fat, or has it come in waves. Talk to me. Is it high blood sugar from too much meat? Talk to me. Also, share this content. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I do run a course. You can sign up through my website. It's only $15 a month, where I cover all 3 diets. And my challenge is totally on hold now, because I am running like crazy trying to get this house before winter comes. The house done, not get the house. Well, that too. And I'm out. Peace.